What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Wine Talk, where we sip some wine, talk about a few topics. But today, I think we got a very funny topic. It's gonna be interesting to hear these different stories, and that topic is talking about what it's like growing up in a black family household, whatever you want to, however you want to spend it. And today, talking about that with me today is
Zell,
Tweet,
Tori.
Chinese J.
yeah, my bad. I didn't tell you, and I lied, of course. But to start this off, I want to hear what you got to say because you was talking about growing up in the backyard with chickens.
Wow. Okay, first of all, you not.
I'm sorry.
Thanks. But I feel like I didn't grow up in like a traditional like black household. First of all, first half of my life I grew up in the country. Like not like country like we had driveways. I had a horse. I got bit by a chicken. Like that kind of country.
yeah, that ain't never happened to me.
So she said dirt road. All right.
You mean to tell me you went out potholes?
At that point, it's a ditch.
Wow. Okay.
How did you get bit by a chicken?
They told me not to touch it, and I touched it anyway. So it
That's
did.
your fault.
Can't lie to you, that's one of my habits.
See, I mean, I told me I did it
bit by a
anyway.
Touch it.
Interesting.
Yes.
And then the second half, I mean, when I came to Cleveland, I grew up in Cleveland Heights, so it was just like,
So where'd you originally grow up?
I say Cleveland Heights, because when I grew up in the country, I was like little.
No, I mean like before you came here.
Where you get bit by the chicken at?
Where?
Latonia, Georgia.
I'm about to say, what is that?
Gotcha.
I'm about to say,
That's about Savannah.
It's about 20 minutes south of Atlanta.
I'm about to say, look at you know your geography. I never heard that, but I want to know. You been there before?
No, he have.
Oh, that's right, because you used to live in Atlanta for a little bit.
Don't take me back to that.
Atlanta.
Is that what it's like for you? You have any funny stories?
Yeah,
He
man.
was down there white.
No.
What does that mean?
I think the funniest story I like, and I was going to your house when we stayed at Dorchester, man. I swear. And I remember my mom called me to, cause I had, you know how you gotta take out the trash before you go outside.
Yeah.
So I forgot. My mom was always on trash with me. She's like, no, come back to the house and take this trash. And it was dark as hell outside. So I'm like, all right, mom. So I go back, you know, and I'm just like looking around, you know, it's just dark and stuff. And I just got the feel. I had this feeling something was chasing me, and it was one of the goose.
No, them geese. Geese gang.
Man, bro, I had walked past one of their nests, bro, and I just felt so, and I just started running. I had on flops, bro. Go back in the house, grab the garbage, and I throw the garbage away, and I'm going back to his house. and that same goose got to chasing me. I swear to God, everything I look, it got to chasing me.
Right.
I even tried to go around. I'm like, I ain't
Spin
going
the
over
block
there
on
no
you.
more.
So you saying your mama set you up?
Yeah, man, it feel like it sometimes. Cause the reason why I say that because I always got chased. So she started calling them my friends. She was like, your friends outside. I be like, man, stop playing.
They waiting on you.
You probably became their favorite person.
I'm about to say,
wait on you.
man, and then it was another one I had got chased by one of them. I think I had Tony's Pizza. I was walking home. I was going through the cut, man. And one of them got to chase me with the pizza in my hand, man. Like I'm just running to the house with the pizza. Yeah, that stuff was funny.
Did you drop it?
No, I didn't. Thank God.
You
So
wasn't
y'all was
dropping.
all like literally raised with animals. Like,
When she said the chick, I'm like, okay, I can relate.
But like
a
no
little.
dogs. Like y'all literally got
No,
like,
when
farm animals.
I came back, when I came to Cleveland Heights, I had a Saint Bernard. Yeah. Yeah, he was big.
So you had Cujo.
Yeah.
They must okay.
I'm about to say, but the normal person don't get chased by chickens and geese though.
I used to get chased by them bitches.
Yeah, you
every
stay over there, you gonna get chased by at least one.
Cause it's like the door to get outside, like it was like they kept a nest like right next to that one door every trip. I used to try. It got to the point, and I didn't feel like walking around sometimes. So it got to the point I just used to run outside, still get chased. Like, bro, that stuff used to get on my
I
nerves,
remember
man.
one day
He
we
knew
was
you. He
shooting
was like,
on
Yeah,
I got
yeah,
you.
he about to come on just a second. I know he coming.
Like, he knew what time he was coming out.
Yeah.
the one day we was shooting them with BB guns.
Oh yeah.
Cause they kept chasing us, so we had to fight back. Yeah, we had to fight back.
So all the animal rights activists,
Right, like,
We was young, guys. We were young.
They not like that. Well, they not like that anymore.
right.
But Tiny, I know you got some funny stories. All y'all in that house.
I mean, I didn't like. Yes, it was interesting. I'm probably the Generation X here, so you
We
know.
was talking about that in one of our other videos.
Yeah, so like growing up, and we're growing up with these Southern parents, and I mean they believe like everybody's. Our house was the house that everybody comes to, you know, and for holidays, for you know, you name it, and all our cousins and aunts and uncles. And my mom and dad, they used to host card games all the time when we were kids.
Yeah,
And like we have this ranch style house. It's like 200 square feet, but it'll be like 1,000 people in there. And then like really, I couldn't understand how we all packed in there. Like little cars parked all up and down the street. I mean, and they would just host everybody. You know, we would make it happen. I don't know how all of us kids would fit in like one room because at that time, you know, growing up, kids were not allowed to be out there with the adults.
Exactly.
You know, if you come out there with the adults, you know what I mean? It's like, what you doing? What you out here for? You know what I'm saying? You know, but I have to tell the story, Rasai. Okay, I was like, yeah.
Who was in the story? Am I in the story?
No, it was your mom. And so we had plotted, right? My mom and my dad, they had these rifles from back in the day from my grandfather, your great granddad, your grandma's dad, and they were rifles, and they were on the wall. Also, my mom had a Confederate flag.
I never knew that.
Yeah, it was, yeah, we ended up like this. Yeah, traditional black homes back in the day. Picture of Martin Luther King, John F. Kennedy, white Jesus, and a big picture table, the coffee table Bible, like yeah. Yep. Back in the day, they didn't know, you know, the Confederate flag because they were from the South, so they didn't, you know, they didn't necessarily know the meaning behind the Confederate flag. They just probably saw everybody have it. So, whenever my parents and their friends and stuff and family, they would play card, they would play bid whist, and when they would run a Boston, that would be like straight mayhem. You would think people were fighting because you know they get to go and they get to talking all this trash about who had what suit ran, you know, and it's just like craziness, you know what I'm saying? And they all over talking each other, there's all this commotion and stuff. So me and my sister, we planned one day, we like, next time they do that, we gonna go in there with this rifle, right? And we gonna point the rifle. We're gonna point the rifle like, what y'all had yelling for? Let's just do what we planned in our mind. It sounded like a good plan. Right? We didn't know that the rifle was be loaded because we were told never to touch them. We're not supposed to touch these rifles ever. Like guns growing up with guns in the house and with us, you know, we knew better. We would get beat down if you touched stuff that you were told not to. So again, of course, true to the story, it happens. You know, they get together one weekend to play cards, and it's like the kitchen table is going, you know, and somebody hits a Boston. So hear all this commotion, you know, I got a Boston, you know, goddamn it, I'm gonna that motherfucker wearing Boston, and they just going crazy. I mean, Kim, we get the rifle, my chicken self. You know what I'm saying? Now they got scared, you know what I mean? So I'm like, no, we shouldn't do it. She's like, come on, you know, get the rifle. She go in there with the rifle, and she pointed at the dude, and she was like, what's all that yelling for? All of them hit the floor. Like it was like that little kitchen table we got in there, you know, it was like this little round table in there. I don't even know how, you know, my uncle like 7'10", like, and I look at him, he outside the window. I don't know how he got outside. I don't even know, you know what I'm saying? My mother, they just like, and my dad, you know, he comes like slide past the refrigerator, like, cause he don't even want to keep, he's like trying to get behind Kim to get the gun. So he like, and Kim, we all looking like, what's the matter? And he's like,
y'all didn't know it was loaded.
didn't know the gun was loaded. So he take the gun, he take the bullets out or whatever. And then everybody like, you see him getting up like, oh Lord Jesus, you know. And just, just wilding out.
That's wild.
Man, what? I never came back to your house ever again.
But yeah, I remember them packed house sitting in the back in the living room eating on a blanket because there wasn't no table or a room. And then being quarantined in one room, you can't keep running to the living room. It was good times though.
He was. We had good times.
Y'all had them cousin stories where all y'all and your cousins would just sleep like in like a living room or like one bedroom and some people on the floor. Y'all sleep like this, like head to foot.
Y'all start playing Tetris.
Right, like everybody needed space.
Nobody want to go home. Like
everybody.
And you plot. You ask your mother.
Right, and I'm gonna ask mine last because if she know that y'all staying, she gonna let me stay. Like,
So she gonna say no.
Ask her like this though. Look, you gotta ask her like this. He was like, just talk to her for a little bit. Yeah, then ask her. See what she say.
We definitely was good for that. But in the same token, it's like I wanted to go to my auntie's house, but I didn't because when we went over there, we knew we was gonna have to clean something. Like we couldn't just go over there and chill or hang out. We had to clean something.
Everywhere we went, though, I feel like it was like that. No matter who house we went over, we had to do something. When we got there.
Pam's house, definitely having to clean there.
Yeah, I think that was just something just passed down from us because her mom was at Grandma Ella. Like she was like that with us. Whenever we go to her house, we would have to. Like I just got here. I'm like, Dad, like what? I ain't been here 10 minutes. Why I got to clean the kitchen and mop the floor?
I barely took my coat off. I still got my book bag.
Exactly. Yeah, but they always had some good food on the table.
It was different. That's why.
I didn't have that. The only thing I had to clean is if we messed something up. Like it was you mess it up, you clean it up, but I ain't just come in like
Yeah.
I feel like
little
they
Orphan
left
Annie style, like y'all about to just no. I'd have left like
It's so
Mom.
hard.
I'm ready to go.
I feel like they left stuff dusty just for that purpose. They knew we was gonna ask them over for the
Kids on the
weekend.
It's like a rite of passage or something. Like like let me bring them in.
What about you, Torin? You got any funny stories?
Alright, so I'm the youngest of 4 siblings, right? So it was complete torture.
That's funny. You the youngest too.
It's like I can give you one quick little story. So like how y'all talked about everybody coming over and spending the night and all of that. So like one night all of my cousins came over our house and everybody's here, and the very next day we live like down the street from a store. So my brother and my cousin, they like 5 years older than me. They all ready to go to the store. Mom always tell you, well, y'all can't go unless you take your little brother with you.
Yeah.
And they taking me in. So I tag along. I'm just as excited as can be. So they running around outside. They start playing in the street. So a car drove past and it almost hit my cousin. Then he like pulled around because he knew my mom. So he pulls around to the house. He tells my dad, and my mom was at work. So she like, you kind of want to get the one parent that's gonna not whoop you. He told the parent that automatically was gonna whoop us. So when we all got back to the house, my dad waited. And he wasn't the belt type. He grabbed like a sandal or something. So we get back to the house. Somehow within 5 minutes, my cousin and my brother come up with the plan to say, yeah, it was Tori. We couldn't control him. He was just out there playing. So I get a whooping for absolutely nothing. And it happened to me all the time. But being the youngest, they always gang up on you.
I never heard that.
Right. Yeah, that would be like my brother. He would always ask us to take his whoopings for him. Like, dude, you get a whooping like every day. Like, how you gonna keep taking your whoopings for you?
I was he was the only boy.
He was the only boy. Yes.
To take a whoop? How do you vouch for that? Like,
Ain't nobody ever took a whooping. I got all of them right there.
And Dad was so stingy. He would have all this money though, because he did all this yard work for the neighbors and stuff. My brother, so he would have wads of money. Like when we would be growing up, like he would have stacks on dicks. I'm like, what? So sometimes when he would be like, I'll pay you. You go in this room or whatever. And he got all the GI Joe and stuff and Tonka trucks and all that. And he would be like. He's like, yeah, if you just let her, you take the punishment from me. I'm like, And then he be like, he start peeling back money. I'm like, well then I might take it.
You about to pay me for this?
Yeah, I got you.
It probably was light on y'all anyway. I know my sister, she never got whooped no matter what she
I've
did.
never seen
Do not
her
touch
get
my
whooped,
mouth.
ever.
I don't think Trina been whooped.
Not that I can remember. Not really, no. I know she did. I don't know if I should put that out there. I'm gonna leave it out. We can talk about that off camera.
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, it was like that.
My sister got all that special treatment. She got that bigger room for that reason.
She did. When y'all stayed on Castleton, her room was big as shit. You had this little box.
In the closet.
And I have more stuff than her.
Right.
That was wild.
But like I was telling Autumn, I had the GameCube or whatever, and back then they had memory cards. And I don't know if she did something to me or not, but she has a save file on there. And Simpsons Hit and Run just came out. It's like the Grand Theft Auto version of, well, it was a Grand Theft Auto version, but it's just Simpsons characters. And she did something to me, and I erased her data off my memory card, and I got in trouble for it.
His mom.
I had to delete the whole memory card, and it pretty much was hers at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. Parents back then, like, too, parents parent weird, and I guess I don't have kids, so I can kind of, from a, empathetic lens, kind of, because they just really did the best they could with information that they had. Yeah. You know what I mean? Sometimes it would be just outright stubbornness or whatever because they were the adult, but a lot of times when I got to be an adult, you know what I mean, and I like really looked at my parents and their life and what they try to do and how they try to provide, and then you're trying to provide for 5 kids with like 1 income, I can't even imagine, like, and then the racism and stuff that we know now that's all televised. They were going through this stuff and it wasn't televised.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? So the pressures that were like on their backs, my dad, like he's working. My dad was a what they call a die setter. He worked in a manufacturing for over 40 years, and bam, the company just folded. They bank came in one day, told everybody they just gotta leave. You know what I mean? The people that was running the place were doing, scandalous stuff, and pretty much everybody had to just lose their jobs. You know what I mean? And so, but I remember, I used to work there too, and I remember his foreman, white guy, you know what I mean? But he would just always say condescending stuff to my dad. Yeah. But I was so young, I didn't really understand, like, you know what I mean? That he would be, what he would be doing, and my dad would just like take it, or I mean, he may say something at me now and then, but I couldn't only imagine what that did to his manhood or his ego and stuff like that. But he knew he had to provide for his wife and his kids, so he just would go and he would work 16-hour days, and that place was sweltering. You know what I mean? And it would be below zero, because of the type of work that you're doing, and you can't, the temperature is not always regulated, And so he did this, and I'm just thinking like, man, all of the things that they just had to endure, and then not having like the information that we have now. There was no internet back then, you know what I mean? Everything was literally passed down, verbally. So, I just had more compassion, I think. Of course, there was scarring and bruising because there were things that were said and done that hurt. You have to, as you become an adult, you got to work through that kind of stuff. But it wasn't nothing that really just took away, like a lot of, like I said, they tried to provide really good fun times for us,
Time's different now, because I could have dropped in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
Go find another one.
You're right.
But you said what? All right, have a good day.
Think of one.
Yeah.
How do you try to think of one? You can talk about like her greatness, like how y'all can eat the jelly beans until after Easter, and then they be all hard and nasty.
No, so this one time I was acting a fool in school, man. Like just trying to show off for some girls, right?
That's like a forbidden root.
Yeah. I ain't care that day. I was like, I'm about to give me one of these today. So I'm acting up. Teacher like, I'm gonna call your mama. I'm like, I don't care. Call her. You want me to call her for you? I'm thinking I'm hard in front of the whole class, and she called my mom, put her on speaker. My mom going off. Now what the hell the problem is now? Like, you know what? I ain't even gonna trip. Just come straight home. So I get home. She like, I can't even deal with you right now. Just go take a bath and go in your room. So I'm like, I knew she wasn't gonna do nothing. That's why I told her to call. So we our bathroom did not have a lock on it. Like you just had to close it. It was one of them old fashioned doors. So I'm in the bathtub playing around, splashing, swimming, all type of stuff. So next thing I know, the door busts open. She got this big old belt and starts smacking me with. And when you wet, and you get hit with a, I'm telling you, I had welts all over me. I ain't never had a lynching like that a day in my life. When I tell you, I went to school the next day, I was quiet as a mouse. I was like, I ain't going through that again. Y'all got it. Y'all got that until I got to high school. Y'all got that basketball thing. Like,
But yeah, them anticipation whoopings or punishments be the worst.
When they call you, it'd be like middle of the day, like 12 o'clock, and they call your parents. You don't get out of school till about 3. So that whole couple of hours, you just sitting there like, I wonder what they finna do to me. I wonder what they gonna take from me. I wonder how long I'm gonna be on punishment. She probably ain't even gonna whoop me for real. But what if she whoop me till I can't feel it no more? You just sitting there going through it. Like,
you wonder why you got bad grades. I can't concentrate.
Me and my brother got so slick with it though. We used to go in the house when we was anticipating. We used to throw on extra pants, all type of stuff. Used to throw on extra shirts, long sleeves. We did not care, man. Me and Austin used to get so many whoopings. It was not funny.
Can't lie to you, the clothing thing is a privilege because they was bare. They was on some
I mean, sometimes
bottom only. Like I'm on some.
So you know what day I started hating my stepfather? This nigga, man. You know them big old 2x4s, right?
Oh man.
He took one of them, drilled holes in it.
Oh no.
Made a little handle to it. I started getting beat with that, man. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm cool. She hit me with that one
paddle.
Yeah, right.
No, for real.
Not a handle.
And they wrapped black tape around it. Like, I was like, oh my God.
I think I've seen that once or twice.
Yeah, man. That joker wasn't, man. It made you not want to do nothing bad no more.
That's a special kind of whooping on you. You know what time it is.
And then, like, bare back too. Like, no, you ain't putting no extra clothes on this time.
Yeah, our parents, they did get creative with the punishment. Because I remember one time, we was in East Cleveland, we stayed on Gainesboro, and Austin did something, and he had to lay on his back and hold his arms and legs straight up. And every time he hit the ground, he got whooped. So
We used to
Yeah.
I mean, we had to squat in our whole phone books, but I think that's what
we all been there.
Yeah.
Shit, at least y'all ain't never. My sister, right? I made her mad one day. I think I was asking her for some of her Oreos. Like, this is when Oreos first became a big popular thing. I'm asking her for an Oreo. She get mad at me, right? It gotta be like 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning. My mom didn't get off till like 4 or 5. She locked me in the closet until when my mom pulled up in the driveway and let me out. She's like, now if you say anything, you're gonna be back in here tomorrow. I'm like, what?
Wow.
Trina was notorious for putting people in closets all day.
Man,
Like, just that and squatting. Them your 2 punishments.
Yeah, it's crazy because and it's unfortunate too, especially again in our culture, because that was just again something handed down to us and didn't really understand it. Because it's like, now for me, I was one of the kids. I wasn't getting beat. I'm not going through that because I saw my sisters, have to endure that. And again, my mom was creative too. You know what I'm saying, with the way that she would do it, and she just didn't believe in disrespect, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, no, I'm not disrespecting you, I'm just asking you a question. It's like, it's not, but it was like coming from just a couple of generations removed from slavery where you were told to shut up, don't say nothing, you know what I mean? Everything that you did, even if you didn't do anything, it was, the white man took pleasure in beating you, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so this is all our culture and our families and our history, and that's all they knew. So then, of course, this is what's happening to you. We getting beat mentally, physically, you know what I mean? So now this is what we bring into our own families
Right.
and thinking that this is the way that you're supposed to be in order to get somebody to listen or do something, or if they are chastised for doing something wrong. And yeah, I mean, we got the funny stories behind it, but it's been so traumatic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And detoxing from that now, you know what I mean, is really a challenge, because now we're still doing it to each other, our young black men. You know what I'm saying? They think this is this barbaric stuff. And this rage that's still in us, and people think, you know, they always try to tell us, well, forget about slavery, well, forget about you know what I'm saying? You don't tell me what to forget about that's gonna happen to me, and I'm still enduring the oppression of that. You know what I'm saying? I can't forget about it because I live it every day. You know what I mean? And so it's hard, because even me, I didn't have kids, but I whooped y'all because I thought that this is what I was supposed to do if y'all did something wrong, and I hate that. You know, it's like, no, like I could. No, I mean, if you just completely, you know, just was doing something like we said, but it's still a way that you could just, you know, discipline somebody without hitting them with sticks and pots and pans and whatever, you know what I'm saying, and things like that. And like you say, getting, you know, webs all over your body, like it was just like, and some of that came out of anger. It wasn't even like a discipline. It was just like, I'm mad. You know what I mean? And so, you know, it's like, we didn't turn out bad though, you know what I'm saying?
And I'm glad you said that, because I had to have that conversation with my mother the other day about my son. Like, I had to tell her, you don't have to smack his hand or pop him for everything. Like, you could just tell him to stop.
Yeah.
Move him away from it. He does not have to be hit in every situation.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a big generation difference.
It
Like,
is. I
it's
feel
the
like
big,
kids don't need to be hit in any situation, honestly.
no, sometimes. sometimes
I didn't get whooping. I did not get whooping. I
I mean, that's
remember
probably
the
why you feel
one
like that.
time I almost got a whooping. My great
Almost.
grandmother. Almost. I'm telling you, it was okay. My great grandmother ran this daycare, right? And she was one of those, if one person in trouble, everybody in trouble type thing. Mind you, I'm upstairs in my room, mind my business. I come downstairs right at the tail end of it. So she like, everybody line up against the wall. So I'm walking to the kitchen. She like, why don't you too? So I'm like, all right. We get the line up. We cool. She like, go get a switch from outside. Me, I didn't know what a switch was. And I'm like, what is that? So
Like a light switch?
right, I'm like, what is that? So one little boy go outside, he take one, get the leaves off. I'm like, oh, we about to get a whoop. I called my mama so quick. I was like, what? Mind you, we didn't have cell phones. I'm calling her on the little rotary phone, because yes, my great grandmother had a rotary phone. I'm dialing, flipping the numbers in the kitchen. Like, Mom, you gotta come. And at the time, she worked at Ameritech. So she had to call, exactly. She had the call center. She panicking. She come home. She busted the door right when she was doing like this. You probably remember where like the foyers had the glass doors with all the windows, and my great grandmother was coming up with it, and I was in the corner. My mom like kind of like pushed her out the way, but her hand slipped through the door, and she cracked all the glass, and she had to get all these stitches. And I was just like, I was traumatized from that for a long time. I'm like, I didn't even get a whooping, and I gotta go to the hospital. Like, what happened? You know what almost getting a whooping feel like?
No, because I got
I know what the This deep has been fulfilled.
No, like to the point, like all this anxiety now we got, because it's like that anticipation. You sitting there
That was
all day
the
like,
only-
what's she gonna do? How's it gonna happen? What time is it gonna be? And you don't know, so now you just
That was the only time I was like this
I would
close to getting a
rather
whooping.
run
But like
through
my mom did not let anybody whoop me. Like they did a lot of yelling, and like it was like verbal, I'll say abuse, but like I didn't get hit.
Yeah.
I didn't get hit.
Out of my parents, like my mother
You
would.
only no, you got siblings. You the youngest?
No, not on my father's side, not no more. So on my mother's side I am though, but so my mother, like between my mother and my father, I think who gave the worst punishment was my father, cause I was playing basketball, and my father was he was just so tough on me about basketball, like anything. Like I remember this one time we was outside till like 12 o'clock, I kept missing free throws, and my father, he's a shit talker. And he just gonna talk shit, keep talking shit. And then we get in the house, we go to dinner, eat dinner and stuff at the table, he's still talking shit. Like we about to go to bed. And then we about to watch a movie with the family. He's still talking shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we'd be watching the back, see you see how they like, but you out here, but that's how my father was. So it was this one time. We had a family cookout, and this was my first time meeting Granddad, and I was embarrassed because I was playing terrible that day. I ain't gonna lie, and we was playing 3-on-3. It was my father, my brother, and me versus a couple of my cousins. So I was playing horrible. I was missing shots, missing layups, and my father was like dogging me during the game, like, "No, you suck, you suck, you suck." I'm like, and I'm just sitting there, and he like, "You know what? Go in the house." He was like, "I don't even want to look at you. Go in the house." I'm like, "All right." Yeah, that's my father. He was like that. He was like, "Go in the house. I don't even want to look at you right now." I'm like, "All right, whatever." So I go in the house. So they got done hooping, whatever. I come upstairs, he like, "No, go back downstairs. Go back downstairs, bro."
I just can't even get
I'm
comfortable.
like,
What you gonna do?
he was like, and my granddad got to talking junk, and he was like, grandson he got y'all tomorrow. He got y'all tomorrow, and my father was like, "Bet we gonna play tomorrow." And he play like this tomorrow. Every time he come here, he's getting punished. I swear. And like my father was so serious. So the next day come, dude, I didn't miss a shot, bro. But the first we played like 2 games of 21, and the first game I had missed a floater for game, and we won the set. We won, and we kept playing because you know that's what family do. They just keep playing after that. So my father was still bringing it up. "Oh, you still suck for missing that floater for game." We won like 8 games in a row after that. He was like, "Nah, it don't matter." And he was just going in. And then,
Can your dad beat you now?
my dad still can hoop. That nigga still can.
I wouldn't even say you can't even use that.
I mean,
Yeah, that old school hooping
I'm
is a
about to say
different
my
game.
father, but see, my father, he can go in the post and he get at you like on the handle side too, and he shoot nothing but minis,
When
bro.
I got to a certain age, my father couldn't beat me no more.
My father wouldn't play me. Like, he was like, "No, not at all."
Well, no, I ain't gonna lie. I used to get thrashed by my mother though. My mother was like Steph Curry, bro. I swear. When she took them nails off, it was a wrap. I remember this one time we was hooping at the creek, man, and she was like, "Play me 1-on-1 up to 5." I'm like, "All right, you get ball first." I'm like, "Go ahead, you ain't going nothing."
It's over with.
I ain't even touch it. My mom just shooting right over me like, "That's all you got?" Just talking and stuff. And like,
Monopoly and dominoes is my mama thing. She plays sports all like that.
I mean, she had the way to hold them. Like, she just hold them like she was gangster with it. Then just big 6
lay
to the
on
hole.
Yeah, every card game though, like I've never seen a card game she couldn't play, or like any game like that she could not play.
You know, and they all had that thing with the cigarette.
The cigarette hang up the mouth. I already know what time it is. I won't challenge you at anything.
You getting smarter. You can forget it. You smarter. Yeah.
And she used to drink them nasty Steel Reserve. That 211. The gold can with
that sound like my uncle, man. You know, everybody got that one drunk uncle though. That's how my uncle
Loki still be living at grandma's house.
Right, no, for real.
Yep.
I can't say I got that drunk uncle because I only have one uncle. Like I legit only have one uncle. Like on my father's side, my father's the only.
You can say that. You couldn't even get up for service on Sunday. I'm like, what, dude? What are you doing? Like, yeah.
Well, yeah, my only uncle is probably the drunk uncle. My only one.
Sorry, we're not talking about my brother.
That's funny.
My mama used to throw back. I remember she got drunk and tried to hit this dude with a mailbox. No, she tried to.
mailbox.
No, she tried to hit a dude and ended up hitting the mailbox.
He's in the car, right?
Yeah, we was on.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I think it was a guy birthday, and he just kept talking stuff, and I guess he got to leave and walk, and she let him walk for like 10 minutes, and by the time he got to the corner, she was in her car chasing.
And red it up, warm it up.
Right.
I remember that day too, because I ran all the way home like 10 minutes
Yeah.
until
Yeah.
my father.
We got that honest too. We definitely got that from the generation before us, because we were like, we ain't play. You know what I'm saying? It's like we would be ready to fight, like, and it's crazy because it's like I just thank God for protection, because I would fight dudes. Like I was like, you know, like
Yeah, I heard you was a tomboy. Well, you said you was a tomboy.
Yeah, and I didn't even realize like who is that? I think back like how crazy you gotta be to and I wasn't even a big drinker or I didn't smoke. I've never smoked, anything. That wasn't my thing. I would like, you know, like try to drink, but it wasn't, you know, so I would be sober.
Yeah.
It just, like, so where did all this anger like come from?
That
It's
might be a
like,
black woman thing in general, because I definitely used to fight dudes, like, because you're not about to, I feel like it's the thing, like, you're not about to try me, like, I can't.
and don't
like,
mess with my family.
right,
Don't
yeah,
say
like,
nothing about
we not about to do
sister. Don't come sideways with my
that,
man.
It was, man. Okay, you should not play about me.
I might not beat you, but you gonna know you
It's-
got to fight. You gonna know you got to
I'm
fight.
gonna go
there.
from the rip. Like you seen it firsthand. Like when dude called your phone, I was about to get jumped. Like, and I did not care. But it was more of them than it was of us, though.
Yeah, but you was in the door before I turned the car off.
Yeah, like I don't
Did
care.
you say
Like,
Quentin grabbed you?
yeah, I
he was
like
there- he was there
if,
too.
like I am the most chill person in the world. But when you get me to that, it's over with.
That's how I feel.
That's when,
It is
unfortunately, when y'all got, I got in the car so fast. One of them kids, whoever it was in the neighborhood that jumped you guys or tried to come after you. Like, I saw rage, and we could not find, I don't know how we thought we was going to find them, they ran in the house, you know what I'm saying? But we was out there, like if I see them, and every time I would see a kid, even now, like, I still got trauma.
That's the first time I ever seen grandma with a gun.
Yeah.
She put it in her purse. I'm like, oh no.
Grandma got that thing on.
That's where I get my
Never
next
catch her
stuff.
You ain't gonna never catch her laughing.
I was just telling you about that too. Me and my cousin got done. We was up when we was driving past that field or whatever. That's what happened. That I remember it was a holiday or whatever, and Brandon, he was with his friend. I ain't gonna say her name, whatever, but she lived in the area, and we walked her home, or halfway home, and we crossed the field, and then we crossed back, and then by the time we by the street, there was a whole bunch of dudes surrounding us, or trying to surround us.
Yeah, and we didn't, you know, necessarily know who it was, but we were like looking, and Nazir's dad was like, "Tyrese, where's you going?" Like, I'm going around and fight a bunch of dudes by myself, but that's just how sorry I was, you know, because yeah, we don't play about family.
Yeah, my sister was wild when it came to me. I remember this. I remember when I was a kid, I used to want to fight the biggest dude out there. I didn't care who it was. I
You
used to wanna-
definitely have
I'm
more
about to
heart
say,
than, like,
I didn't care who you was. I wanted to fight the biggest dude out there. And I remember this one time, somebody knocked on my mother's door. Was like, "Your brother about to fight such and such." And he was like a senior in high school, and I was like in 5th grade. I was so dead with him. I don't know, cause he kept trying to. We was playing football, and he tapped me on the sidewalk and stuff, had me my arm scratched up and all this stuff. So I threw the football at him. I'm like, bruh, like you doing too much, bruh. You big as hell, bruh. Don't be doing all that, bruh. And he got in my face like, "What you gonna do? What you gonna do?" I'm like, "Bro, I'm not scared of you, bro. I would slap the fuck." Like I was going at him, bro. And then soon, like when I'm like standing in his face, like my sister come outside, like she just took off everything. Like, "Nah, that ain't going down." Like just took off everything, dude. And she like started posting that everybody was grabbing my sister and stuff, man. That shit was hilarious, bro.
Crazy.
Hey, none of my siblings ever fought for me.
Man.
I'm gonna say that. Every fight, I had to do it by myself, man. I feel like Brandon would have,
Yeah.
but it was also I had that mindset like, you not gonna beat me. Like, I don't care who you are. Like, you not gonna
Pretty
beat
much.
me.
We didn't care though. We didn't care at all.
Because
we didn't care.
We low key ran the whole
We didn't
little
care.
complex like over there.
We didn't care at
Like,
all.
but yeah,
In my
we,
mind, it's gonna be me or you.
Right.
It's not gonna be me, so it gotta be you.
and we not gonna stop fighting until I feel like I want.
Right.
We're not going home.
And this even bad because my mother said I get that from my grandma because my grandma's crazy. She from Alabama, Birmingham at that. So my grandma didn't care about nothing either.
She carried all of it.
Yeah.
For real, I remember I came to her. She was stay across the street from me.
Stop the
Oh, okay, my fault.
And then we can do the little. What you saying, Bill?
So I remember my grandma used to stay across the street from me, where I stay at, and she was like, I came over there. It was me and my sister walked across the street. You know, my grandma was all chill, and she was just like sitting on the couch with her legs crossed, with a cigarette in her hand. She had, I think, like some wine or something on the table, and she was just like, "What?" She was like, "What's up?" She was like, "Go in the room." So my so her boyfriend came in there. Next thing you know, you just heard them tussling. I come out, my grandma piecing dude up, piecing him up, though. And dude just like he in the corner, like. And I'm like, and then we called my mother, and my mother came over there, man. she kicked dude out and everything. Like, and then my grandma was talking junk to the cops because somebody called the cops. And he was sending thirst like, yeah, I'm gonna be back. My grandma was saying, let him come through then. Watch what's gonna happen. Let him come through. She was crazy.
The most gangsta I ever seen my mama get was on me. And you stopped it. I don't know if you remember this, but we was at grandma's house. And she just started beating on me for no reason, like just punching me, just going down. And Tiny stepped in the middle like, no, stop. Like, no, you just hitting him in his face. Like, I don't remember what I did. I think I said something back to her. And she just started like hitting me for no reason. I'm like, damn. Like, so like a week later, we was at my house. I think we talked about this off camera before, but the first and the last time I was ever scared to fight somebody in my life.
Oh, yeah.
Dude come to my house like, yeah, tell your son to come outside. We gotta, catch these. So my mama come to the door. I look outside the door. I'm like, oh no. I'm about to go back in here. Like, no, that's the neighborhood bully. He beating everybody up around here. So, she like, look, you got two options. You either go out there and fight him, or you stay in here and fight me. Now in my head, I'm like, Ma, low key, I give you these hands. this ain't back there.
Like, this ain't what you want.
So, yeah, she made me go out there and fight him. Turned out, dude couldn't even fight for real. So, yeah, like, from that moment on, I was like, I'll never fear a man if he bleed too. Like, so, yeah, I think my family the ones that turned me the way I am.
And I don't know what it would be like, but like, why would it be like when we get together? First thing, y'all already know, we always say, we all never get together. Then we get together and it just all it takes is one person. Mm-hmm. One person to get started, and it's like, what is that about? It's like, what is that? You know what I'm saying? But somebody, one person had too much or something, and then it's like, yeah, and you just like it's like always that person kind of got to show off for the family too.
Yeah.
Right, like what is you doing?
Come on,
like,
come on.
right, like have a seat. Like what are you
What
doing?
we gotta do all
Like,
this?
look what I can do.
Do that thing. Do that
And then they be calling the other kids in there because they want to show off their grandkids. But look, my grandkids is just like, I said dance. You're terrified. You like, right?
I
So.
don't even want to do the Dougie today.
Right. Yeah.
Honestly, my people's like that now, man. They still like that now. Like, cause they all got kids and stuff, and they're talking in this group chat or whatever. And then one of my cousins model, other. And my mom just be in the cut like, well, my son play professional basketball. It's right here, and it
Just shut everybody down.
Right.
And they just keep doing it, so it be funny. They still like that to this day.
Yeah. And they be proud. I think our families too. There was a lot of pride. You know what I'm saying? No matter what dysfunction that we have, you know what I'm saying? We still are very proud people. You know what I'm saying? We just kind of got a weird way of showing it. But we do, we love how we love. We take care of our people how we take care of our people. You know what I mean? So it's just interesting. And that's why I think our culture is so mystique, and people are always trying to misappropriate us because they're trying to they want this vibe. You know what I mean? They want this mood. You know what I'm saying? They just got style, they got class, they got swag, you know what I mean? We have this like you said, energy. We have this, no nonsense about us. You know
I feel
what I mean?
like no race is as interesting as.
Oh, absolutely. I always feel like that.
Yeah, we're innovative and just creative. Think about that too. Like, when we didn't have money to get stuff or to buy stuff, how innovative we are and creative and creating activities for us to do.
Yeah, I know it's random, but man, I've been seeing some of the smartest inventions from people in jail. Like,
Some of the best cook shows.
Now, how in the world do you got rice souffle?
You made wasabi in jail?
I'm making breaks and some more shit. They got some shit called breaks and shit.
and they be black too. So.
Yeah. So you can't put that in and they try to contain us, you know what I'm saying? And then they try to do it. It's just like,
That's
nah,
because
bro.
they want to be us.
So
That's
bad.
all it is.
so bad. And then when they can't be us, then they trying to
Find a way to stop it.
to stop. Yeah,
Exactly.
take it out. Yeah. So
Steal our whole thing.
Everything. Right.
Everything from us.
What they
man.
think they
Like-
steal it anyway. They ain't stealing it.
yeah,
Cause they can't even do it right.
No, they can't. They can't.
So-
Like losers. Like shh.
On that note, I'm sure you heard some interesting stories. I'm sure you got some of your own. Like, if you feel like it, or let us know in the comments some of your interesting stories. And thanks for watching. Cheers, like, comment, subscribe. Wine Talk.
One,
And
two.
we'll catch y'all on the next one.
Dynamite!